Good morning. This is the Santa's Workshop at Stacy's Nursery, and I'm with Angela Flattable. We'll look at some of the different varieties of trees that are here available. They also are possible to cut your own at the tree farm. But with a little bit of snow on the ground and a lot of slush, we decided we would do everything inside and look at all the varieties. So I'll turn it over to Angela. She'll talk a little bit about the varieties that are in here at the nursery, and then we'll look at different areas with different kinds of trees.
Hi, good morning, afternoon, whatever time you're tuning in today. We are in our indoor forest, as we call it here. We turn the greenhouse into a virtual forest. We hang all the trees, if you can see, from the ceiling, so it feels like you are out at a farm. We have different varieties hanging. We can hold about 150 trees in here, and as people purchase them, we bring up another tree from our warming room out back. So the guys are constantly filling up the store, so you can continue to walk through all the different varieties. We do have quite a few different varieties here. I'll kind of talk about them, point out a couple, and then tell you kind of where they were growing. Right behind us is the section of tall trees. We're noticing our most popular trees are 12 to 15 feet tall. Due to the fact that people have, tall vaulted ceilings and larger homes these days, we still sell a huge selection of that 8-foot tall, but the tall ones go first. So right here is actually a Fraser fir. These are the only trees we purchase out of state. So we actually get these in northern North Carolina. Stacy and his wife went up there and met the farm, picked out the farm. They toured about 5 different farms, picked the most family-owned, fun family farm they could. So they got to meet the third generation, the father who started the farm, the second generation, and now the third, and they select the trees up in the mountains in North Carolina. This is becoming the most popular Christmas tree. That's only happened over the last couple years. It used to be the balsam fir, which is right here. I don't know if you can zoom in on this one. This is the balsam fir, which we still call our favorite Christmas tree because this is grown in Minnesota. We grow some out at our tree farm, which is just behind Cloverleaf Cemetery. Usually takes 7 to 10 years for your average Christmas tree to grow. And then we purchase some also from a farm that we have gotten to know very well in St. Cloud, up in close to Sartell. It's called Sand Country. We've been purchasing trees from them for over 20 years. And Stacy, again, goes up there and hand selects which trees he wants to sell. Purchase from them and then sell. Balsam is the most popular because it's the most fragrant. So people really enjoy that scent of the balsam fir. If we want to move, just right behind you here is a Scotch. Now Scotch pines, again, we grow at our Christmas tree farm over behind Cloverleaf, and then also we purchase some in from Sand Country. The Scotch pine is one of the only Christmas trees that is actually painted. A lot of people don't know that we paint Christmas trees. The Scotch would be kind of an ugly brownish green if we didn't paint them. So we actually paint them with a dark forest green, which happens in July of the year. That's when the trees will absorb the paint the best. And Stacy goes out and paints them right out at the farm here. The Scotch pine was probably one of the most popular trees in the 80s and 90s due to the fact that it was kind of your old traditional Christmas tree. It reminds me of the Griswold Christmas tree, so big and fat. They're still pretty popular, but I would say they're kind of fusing out, balsam being more of the popular tree now. They're also kind of a prickly feel versus, if we're going to zoom over here to the white pine, which is our 4th variety of tree. The white pine, again, being one that we paint. Now, we can't grow these at our farm. We've tried for 20-some years, and they just do not grow in our soils well enough. They like a sandier soil. So these we purchase in from Sand Country, and they're a very soft tree. So people enjoy them for their softness. There's not a lot of fragrance, but the main reason people purchase these, they don't drop any needles. So people like that idea of absolutely no mess. They are, however, difficult to decorate because, as you can see, you put an ornament on and they kind of move down. So people, it's kind of a hit or miss tree. We probably sell maybe 100 of these versus, 1,000 of Frasers or 1,000 of the balsams. But they're still a neat, fun tree. Again, kids love them because of the softness. So if we could possibly head outside and take a look at our native trees that Stacy goes up in the woods up in Black Duck and cuts himself, I'll invite you out there. All right, so we are outside here by our what we like to call our native Christmas trees. And the reason they're called native Christmas trees, as you can see, they are unsheared, unpainted, grown in the middle of the forest up north, kind of by Black Duck. We have some land up there. And Stacy goes up there and harvests these himself. So he trucks out in the wood. If you've heard the commercial about the old woodcutter, it is true. He goes out there and cuts all of these. Now, some people feel these are ugly or called a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. These are the first Christmas tree we'll sell out of because people just really enjoy the old-fashioned Christmas tradition. Fun to decorate because, as you can see, there's gaps between all the different layers of the Christmas tree. So your ornaments can really be displayed nicely. We will sell these anywhere from 3 foot all the way up to 24 feet high. So the 24-footers happen to go to most churches, outside or indoors, and then we have a couple barns that have Christmas in them, and we'll do the large, tall ones in those. So those are fun for Stacy to go out and cut himself. You can kind of see them here. Today they're full of snow, so that's really giving you the Christmas spirit, and they are called a native balsam Christmas tree.
You know, it's amazing to me because when I was out in Massachusetts, the balsams grow just along the trails out there. And they're absolutely gorgeous. And you go for a walk or a hike, and you can just smell the pine trees, and especially after a rain or a snow. So I'm really impressed by the native tree, and I'm glad to hear that those are being sold out. You see a lot of pictures of them in magazines now. People are using them to decorate with much more, I think, than they did 20 years ago. So, but these don't have any trimmings and no paint. So if you like a natural tree, this is the kind to get. So now we're going to go on and we're going to talk a little bit about flock trees. We haven't talked about those yet.
All right, so now you have entered into our flocking room. This is where all the magic happens. So it's really interesting. These trees used to be, again, really popular back in the 80s, and they're making a huge comeback this year. So people are, I don't know, again, if they're seeing them on Pinterest or where, but people are getting back into the flocking trees. So what we do is we take a normal Christmas tree. Right here is a balsam. And then behind me drying is a Scotch pine. So you can see the 2 different varieties flocked. The Scotch, again, is the big, fat, fuller appearance. The flock sticks really nice to it. We can do a light flock or a heavy flock. That is a little bit lighter. And this one here being a little heavier. And people tell us which one they'd prefer. The nice thing about a flock tree is they don't need any water. So they're actually put on a wooden stand. The flock is basically a white paint which has a glue on it that closes all the cuticles of the tree. So it doesn't need to absorb moisture at all. So we've just got this neat process here. We flock the tree, and then it has to dry for about 24 hours before you can take it home. So they do require a couple day notice for you to pick them out and then flock them and then have us dry them. So it's just kind of a neat process. We have actually done a green one before. Flocked it green, and we have flocked an orange tree before for Haug Kubota. So that was kind of a fun experience. So this is our flocking room. We're going to maybe check out the shaker next. I'll show you how we shake the Christmas trees once we get them in to get all the needles out, any nests, and then we hang them in the greenhouse. So we'll go take a look at that. All right, so we are back in our what we call the warming room here at Stacy's. And what we have to do with each tree before we put it up for sale is we have to shake it. So you can hear the noise of the shaker and watch how all the dead needles come out of the tree, how all the branches kind of fall down. It warms up the tree and shakes out everything we don't want in your house back here. So it takes out all the mess. If you do cut a tree at the tree farm, you can now bring it here and then we'll shake it for you too if you want. We've, by the way, had this shaker since about 1978, so it's a good machine.
These are treetop deck pots behind Angela and me. They are pots covered with different types of decorations, both natural and artificial. Pine, as well as pine cones. There's some different kinds of leaves. I'm going to turn this over to Angela. These pots are something that you might want to put on your front steps or on your deck. They are beautiful decorations with different colors for Christmas and different holidays. So Angela can tell us a little bit more about what kinds of plants and decorations go into these.
Thank you. Yes, as you can see, we do a ton of these arrangements. What we like to say is don't store those summer pots that were full of the beautiful flowers that you purchased here, hopefully. We like you to bring those pots back in and fill them with greens. Now, this arrangement will last from middle of November all the way through the middle of March. So most people will keep it until they do their spring pots. And what they are is they're called tree tops. We have a family up in by Deer Park that cuts all of these in bogs. So a lot of people say, oh, how sad they're cutting a top of a tree. It's not actually the top of a tree. They're little mini tops that grow in bogs. So when you walk into the bog, there's thousands of these little tiny mini trees. And this family goes out and cuts them all, and then we go and pick them up. They come in bundles of 10. We open the bundles and display them in nice containers. People either bring in their pot or we have some here to choose from. We mix it with different greens. So these are the spruce tips or treetops. Then we'll mix in some of the nice Norway pine that, again, Stacy cuts up in the north Black Duck area. We like to mix in large pine cones. They're called sugar pine cones. Birch is a wonderful thing to mix in, the nice white birch sticks. We mix in curly willow, orgonia, magnolia, which is down here, is a really fun green to work with. We do some red dogwood, which almost everybody has. You can cut from your own yard. We've got the fantail willow. The options are really endless, as you can kind of check out some of these. We've got lots of different varieties. You can save your berries and cones from year to year and just purchase the greens each year. Again, bring in your own pot. We can do it here at the store or take it home. And a lot of ladies have, 3 or 4 women come together and have a group in their garage and decorate their pots together. So it's kind of a fun, neat thing to do here. And then I think we're going to go into the wreath room and check out how wreaths are made. All right, now we are in the wreath room here working away. This is where all the wreaths get made. We make about 5,000 wreaths, most of them for different fundraisers in town. We do the Wilmer Hockey Foundation, Knights of Columbus, a couple different churches. Here today we're working on store wreaths, so we also make all of our store wreaths, which are made fresh every day. Usually we make probably about 100 a day was what we have to average. So these guys better start clipping. I wanted to show you one little example here of a mixed wreath. They're kind of fun and different, something that not everybody has. So this mixed wreath has pepperberry, seeded cedar in it, and different greens, which is kind of pretty. So just an example. This is a 24-inch wreath. That's the smallest wreath we make and probably the most popular size still. Over here, the guys are actually working on a 60-inch wreath. So this is the biggest wreath we make. You can kind of imagine 60 inches, 5 feet wide. The machine that we use is a crimper, and basically what it does is it looks like a big staple, and it just staples the greens together. So we have one person cutting, and then one person grabbing the bunches of greens here and clamping them in the machine. This is a Fraser wreath, which is we make all of our wreaths out of Fraser. For our retail store, and our fundraiser wreaths for the hockey and the different groups that we make are made out of balsam. So we looked at both of those greens earlier in the tree room, and what the wreaths are made out of is the bottom of the Christmas trees. So when we are bringing those trees in, like I showed you in the shaking process, before the shaking happens, they cut off the bottoms of the tree, and we use those. They're called boughs. We use those to make the wreaths. So the guys clip and then crimp, and then we bring it out in the room and we decorate it with pine cones and handmade bows. Now I think we're going to take a walk over to the fire and show you guys what we do at the end of the day. We relax with some cookies, peanuts, and cider. Okay, now here we are by the fire here at the nursery. We have a wonderful cozy place to sit. And I mentioned in the other room that we hand tie all of our bows for our wreaths. Laura is over here. She is the hand tying queen. So she makes all of our bows, hundreds and hundreds of them. She's making with the traditional red, which is still the most popular. However, we carry lots of different colors, buffalo plaid, fun snowman ones with holly. So lots of different bows. So we sit here at the end of the day and she makes bows and we sip on some cider and have homemade Christmas cookies. We go through homemade Christmas cookies, and they're wonderful. Our cider is made from Sunnyside Orchard here locally in Pennock. You can purchase it here at the store. We've got gallon containers. Some of the other things we'd just like to kind of mention are Susan in the Floral Shop is working this time of year on beautiful indoor arrangements. So they have a fun way to get some smell in your house if you don't want to do a real tree. They're in water and foam, and they've got the wonderful balsam cedar, the pine that we looked at, fun berries. It's just a neat way to get a little scent into your house at the holiday. Also, we are carrying I don't know if you guys have seen on Care 11 the surreal containers. People are loving these. Hudson here, our dog, is making an appearance for you all to see. These containers come in a wide range of sizes, and they're just kind of fun, unique look this year. The birch is so hot. And then also our poinsettias, which we carry a large selection of singles, doubles, triples, and quadruple sizes of poinsettias, which are all growing in Hutchinson, Minnesota. So we want to touch on those a little bit too as well. So I invite you all to come into the nursery whenever you want. The fire's always on, the cider's warm, and there's cookies for the kids or the adults if you want one.
I was laughing here because Hudson just ate my cookie as I was sitting here. That's why he's so attentive. He loves cookies. So I want to wish everybody a happy holiday, and we will see you again in the new year.